Now, a topic that I definitely like to talk about is always around like gold and precious metals. And I know, if you go into the back office and all that, we have all this information, and we do, and you definitely should be using that. But I'm going to share something with you that you probably won't find there. And this goes without saying, since this is my first time talking to the European gang, I always like to start these calls by saying these calls that we put on is an extra piece of value that us as team members with our own experience that we like to put on to help deliver to all of you as like an extra bonus, right? So a way of us from our experience to give back to our team, to our community. But don't only depend on these calls to become a trader or investor. If you do not log into your back office, and if you don't access the university, if you don't access the learn live sessions, the market pro, if you don't use those things, then you're not utilizing the mentorship and the type of education you have access for. And to give you a quick example before we get into things, I have someone on my team. He's a world-class speaker. He's also an author. He's opened up stages for Tony Robbins and Gary Vee and like all these people, Robert Kiyosaki and all that, all the names that we all love. And he actually is a high ticket closer, meaning he closes sales for different companies, and he's actually closing sales for some top trader, and that trader does mentorship at $25,000 US. Okay. And he got started with our platform a month ago. And he said, Edwin, I'm in a dilemma because now when I'm speaking to these clients about this one thing that they want to learn about for $25,000 and they get results, now I'm stuck because I'm involved in a platform that offers not just that same thing that he's charging $25,000 for, but other markets, other mentorships, other types of education for under $200 US a month. Now, of course, he's not going to be cross-selling from here to there, but what I'm trying to say is this: all of you are spoiled in a great way because we all have access to these things in the back office. So if you're not using it, if you're wondering, why am I not getting results? If I asked you to open up your back office and show me how far you've gotten in the education, that would probably reveal a lot. So let's get into things. And we're going to talk about gold and precious metals. Who's familiar with gold and precious metals? I'm sure you've all heard of Bitcoin. I'm sure you've all heard of gold, but like, who's familiar with it? Who's at least heard of gold? If you haven't heard of gold, you were probably just cloned this morning. Okay, good. I'm hoping that you guys are more familiar with gold. And I say this because North American gold, like when it comes to jewelry, is considered around the world as trash because like who the heck wants 10 karat gold, right? When Europe and the rest of the world, Middle East and all that, they understand that like why would you want 10 karat gold? Which I'm wearing, that's what we find here. But here's the thing. So when it comes to gold and stuff, everything is it comes down to different measurements in like ounces and grams and kilos. Some of you know why you know those measurements, and we won't get into that. But it comes down to understanding grams, ounces, and kilos in a different way. So there's what's called a troy ounce and then a regular ounce, right? I'm going to test you guys. Yeah, you're going to out yourself a little bit. How many grams are in an ounce? No one wants to answer. No one wants to incriminate themselves. So look, we're talking about fundamental things that we use on a daily basis. We're talking about food, okay, guys? Foods, herbs, spices. I don't know what you're talking about. 100, no, not 100 grams. So for the sake of being familiar with Google, I want you guys, even ChatGPT, I want you guys to put this right now, and I want you guys to put in the answer. How many grams in a troy ounce? TROY. I want you guys to find it. There's a reason for this, because I want you guys to become familiar with this tool, because a lot of times you see gold signals and you see gold goes up, gold goes down, but you don't really understand what is happening. And with the state of the world that's going on right now, especially like with the wars and all this that's happening, a lot of innocent people dying. We won't get into that, which, you know, it needs more of a voice. I'm just saying, but that's a whole different political topic. Um, the understanding what money is a huge thing. So 31.10. So pounds. Okay, so it definitely wouldn't be pounds. What is here? I'll put this in. How many grams in 1 troy ounce? Gram. Okay, don't scare me because it's pounds and now it's like, okay, now we're getting really crazy. So here's the thing. So 31.1 grams. So if you have, and remember, people, we're talking about legal things right now. When you have 1 ounce of, let's say, flour, if we have 1 ounce of copper, 1 ounce of gold, 1 ounce of silver, 1 ounce of platinum, like all the things that we use for like jewelry, if it's 1 ounce, it's gonna weigh the same, right? It's like a pound of feathers or a pound of bricks. Just because feathers are lighter doesn't mean that the pound is any different. A pound is a pound, a gram is a gram, an ounce is an ounce. Okay, this is going to sound like math science class, but here's what I want to point out to you guys. So when we look at the gold charts, whenever they send gold signals, we're told what the price of gold is currently at, in usually in US dollars, right? US dollars is the standard, is the world standard for gold. This is standard for oil as well. So who can tell me what the current price of gold is on the market? Drop it here in the chat. And you're gonna understand better than anybody else after today exactly what you're looking at. Because whatever candlesticks and charts and EMAs and MACDs and all that, you're gonna understand exactly what you're looking at. And it's gonna be way, way, way more important with what's going on in the world. Okay, so 1922.86. Okay, so we'll just call it 1922 even, because it's going to fluctuate and depending what chart you looked at. So $1,922 US per ounce of gold. Now this is per ounce of 24 karat pure gold. Now, whenever we look at like rap music or things like that of the mainstream, we're taught to think of wealth and rich and abundance in terms of jewelry, right? We look at like Drake and all these like top artists or whatever, they always have all this nice jewelry with diamonds and everything. They get their Rolexes that are worth like 50,000, 100,000, and they put all these diamonds on it. And we think that this is a way of showing wealth. Side note, that's not true. The moment you put aftermarket diamonds on a Rolex or on a watch, you actually destroyed it. So it's actually worthless. Whole different conversation. But what does that ounce that's 1922 look like? And why is that important? So when it comes to it, you hear a lot of like in movies, when they have like a bank heist or whatever, they're stealing gold, they steal gold bricks. Those bricks are usually like a kilo, which is much heavier. They look like actual bricks. That's a lot of gold. So if we're talking about an ounce here for 1922. In the movies, we're talking about bricks. It could be kilos, pounds, whatever. This is what an ounce of gold looks like. And I'm showing it to you in a round, and I'm going to show you the differences of the two. So this is what's called a round. Some people refer to it as a coin. And yes, it is a coin also. This is what an ounce of silver would look like. Notice they weigh the same, but one is slightly larger. You see that? Can everybody see it? Yes. Camera's on. Yes. If drop a 1 in the chat if you can see that. They weigh the same. One is pure silver, one is pure gold. Now I have hundreds of ounces of silver and a few ounces of gold. And this is something I've been collecting since 2010. One thing is to collect coins, because you like to collect coins for the sake of it. That's referred to as boomer-ish, right? Because like back in the day, whatever, that's what they would collect. But one thing is to collect coins for the collector value. Another thing is to collect rounds or bullion rounds for the sake of the precious metal. So I don't care that this is a coin. I bought this as bullion gold. That's what it's called. And you can see it. You can also buy it as a bar. So I have plenty of silver bars, and I've chosen not to get bars of gold in this way because whenever you're moving, let's say in the event of an emergency, and I need to leave the country, they will not allow you in most countries in a time of crisis to take the wealth of the nation outside of its borders. So if I try to cross over to the US, because that's really the only like border that we have here in Canada, I cannot cross over with the country's wealth because now this is here on this soil, even though this is from, where's this from? This is from somewhere in Europe, actually. I don't remember where. Hurus, I don't know, probably German or something. I think it says Strudenpop or something. I don't know. But somewhere in Europe. But here's the thing. If I try to cross over with bars of gold and silver, I won't be allowed. This is also an ounce of silver, and this is an ounce of silver. This is an ounce of gold. So if I buy it as a round, this is minted by the Canadian mint. So this is considered currency. So on this coin, it actually says, I think it was 50. So you might not be able to see it, but it says $50 Canadian. I don't know if you can see it. So if I wanted to, I could go to McDonald's technically and buy $50 worth of whatever. But if gold is at 1922, would it be smart of me to buy McDonald's for $50 with this coin? Yes or no? No. Thank God. I almost had a heart attack. So no. So we're looking at the value of the metals themselves. Okay, so if this is worth 1922, silver is worth a less, then what is the big deal? Like, why is Edwin talking about gold and silver today in this way? So in your respected countries, you can go to a precious metals dealer and you can go and buy gold and silver by the gram, by the ounce. You can buy it by the quarter ounce, half ounce, and all that. Again, most of you know why you know those things. This right here is a quarter ounce of gold. And this, again, this is a full ounce of gold. So you can buy it in different denominations. And as a side note, for those of you that are into crypto, when you hear of somebody promoting a crypto backed by gold, to me, that's usually a red flag because like you can't really keep up with that. Like imagine a brokerage trying to say we have so many crypto tokens per ounces or grams of gold. There's no way to keep track of that, right? If I'm like exchanging every day different currencies with Mustafa, how is that gold exchanging from one place to the other? It's gonna not make sense. So if you're going to be buying gold and silver, and we know that the price is 1922, why is it not a good investment to be buying gold and silver as jewelry? Why am I saying that it's not the best thing when we see musicians, artists, whatever, people, celebrities buying all of these expensive things with gold and silver and platinum? And here Edwin is saying that it's worth this, but it's also worthless. The reason is because I'm showing you the pure metal. So when we're looking at the markets, when we get these alerts, we're being shown the true price of what it is on the marketplace on paper. But if you go to the precious metals dealer, you're going to be paying what's called a premium. So you and I cannot buy gold and silver, or in this case, gold, we're talking about gold. We cannot buy gold, physical gold at 1922. You would have to go and pay a premium, which depending on where you're at, it would be a different price. So if you go to the precious metals dealer, it might be, if it's gold, it might be an extra $50, $100, depending where you go. Okay. Now, this is important because what I want to share with you is if we understand that that is the price of gold, and if you're gonna go buy jewelry, here's the thing that you won't learn in the back office, because the moment all of you start making money, I don't want you, I would like to, let me rephrase that. I don't want to encourage you to go out and buy all of these chains, especially for the guys. You can go buy jewelry for your lady, but stay away from like blinging out yourself. I don't want you, I don't encourage you to go out and spend or waste all of your money on retail jewelry. What's Edwin saying? Okay, hear me out. Don't worry, there's a method to my madness. I promise you. So stay with me. Are you all following me so far? Because I know this is a way, way, way different topic, but it does relate to the alerts and stuff. You're gonna understand much, much better. I promise you. The next time you go to the mall, is that a bird? ADHD. So hold on, wait. What is the bird's name? Is it a parrot? Chi-Chi. Like in Dragon Ball? Chi-Chi? Yes, it's I can't even say that. Piruaraha. I totally messed it up. I didn't mean to mess it up if I did. Okay, Chi-Chi. What's going on, Chi-Chi? Chi-Chi. Okay, anyway, I like birds. Okay, awesome. So here's the thing. So I don't if you guys go to the mall tomorrow, if you go to the mall tomorrow, you're gonna see jewelry. And I would like you to go and ask these questions, because most of the time they won't answer you. If it's like a chain, like a retail jewelry store, they will not tell you the weight of the jewelry that you're looking at. If you ask them, hey, how much does this chain weigh? How much does this ring weigh? They won't tell you. And the reason is because when you're buying jewelry, you are buying the art of it. Right. So like let's say if any of you have any jewelry on, even a watch, whatever, you are paying the premium for the craftsman's work on that piece of jewelry. So for the art, the fact that they took this metal, they heated it up, they mixed it with other metals to go from 24 karat to 18 karat to 14 karat to 10 karat, whatever karat. They mixed it up, they diluted it, they created art out of it, and you're buying the art. And you're going to be paying way more. So if gold is 1922 for 24 karat, it's really, really, really difficult and almost impossible to go to the jewelry store and buy any piece of jewelry that's 24 karat, because it's such a soft metal for jewelry purposes. It doesn't make any sense because it's going to get scratched up and bent up. Right? So that's why different pieces of jewelries have they might have copper, they might have aluminum, they might have silver in it, depending on the art, whatever it is they're looking to do. So if you're gonna go buy it, let's say for example 10 karat gold. Put this in Google right now. What percent of gold is 10 karat gold? And tell me in the chat. Some of you have never asked this question or ever looked it up. And I'm going to show you how badly you will be getting ripped off at the mall. Yeah, pretty much. It's less than 50%. So depending where you're at, it'll be within that range. Perfect. Yeah. So if that's 10 karat gold, 14 obviously is a bit more, and then 18 I think is like 75% or something like that. Some places have 22 karat. So here's the thing. If you, let's say you have a piece of jewelry and it weighs, just say 15 grams for a chain. For those of you that still have Google out, put this in Google. 15 grams of 10 karat gold, market price. 15. Because 15 would be considered a heavier than normal, heavier than average chain. Like the guys wear, like 15 grams and up would be considered heavy. Okay, so how about this? Let's search it together maybe. But while this loads up, I put if you guys can find it faster. 15 grams, 10 karat gold, market price. My computer's slow today, hence the technical difficulties earlier. So I'm going to try to load it up. I'm going to put the exact same thing because I want to give the exact answer. 10 carat. Okay, perfect. So per gram. So then put the 25, just call it 25, 26, doesn't matter. 23, 53 euro, 25, whatever, times the 15 grams. What do you get? So what do you get? Who's the math whiz? Times 15. 2579 times 15. It's 386. So a chain, a 10 karat gold chain that weighs 15 grams, which this chain here weighs about that. I think it's a bit more, I don't remember. This is 10 karat. It's whatever. It's a simple chain. So this in terms of like the price of gold weighs, it costs approximately that in the markets. So right now we're sitting here thinking, oh wow, that's a pretty cheap chain that Edwin's wearing. Like that's trash. It's not bad, whatever. But if you go to the jewelry store, you're not going to be paying 352. You're not going to be paying 353 for this chain. You know how much the chain retails for? Take a guess. And this is how badly, like, how good it is to understand gold in terms of an investment and in terms of jewelry. Take a guess. Drop in the chat. We can play the guessing game. I like being interactive, so don't be shy. There's no wrong answer. Well, I mean, they're all going to be wrong answers, but I'll tell you what the actual thing is. Don't be shy. How much do you think at a jewelry store the chain would retail for? Like if you went and you were looking for something like that, what it would cost? Because I don't know what they cost. Okay, 950 50 euro. 100, 900. Okay, perfect. So the price is right. So in Canada, this would retail for over $2,000. And I'm not even kidding because I went and I looked. Yeah. So see, so here's the thing. I love the answers that you guys gave. You guys gave in the hundreds. But here's the thing. The reason why I like the answers that you gave is because now you understood what this was actually worth. A few $100s. In terms of the metal. You understood that. So you're thinking, okay, for jewelry, I understand I'm going to be paying a little bit of a premium. All of you put maybe a few $100, which sounds reasonable. But on the retail side, when you go to the jewelry store, they don't care that it's $353 of the metal itself. They're saying our craftsmen work by hand. They're very skilled. They polish. They have years of experience. Our brand is known for whatever. You get the warranty. We take care of it. You bring it in. It gets serviced. If it breaks, if a diamond falls out, we'll replace it for you. All those marketing things, which ties into the business also, all those marketing things that they say to you is that far of a premium that you're paying for. So when you see But see, but now you know. But you say you would run, but you haven't. Now you'll run. But I bet if we look at your jewelry box, we'd have to have sunglasses. So, but as long as you all understand, and the way around that is understanding the true price of gold and silver. Silver has its own price, which is much less. It's like right now, I think silver is like just under $30 an ounce. So it's a huge price difference. Um, I don't recommend silver in jewelry. It's an even bigger ripoff. So if you're going to go buy gold or whatever, now that you understand the price, what I've done whenever I go buy jewelry for myself, for my lady, I make sure that I always buy brand new. Yes, I understand I'll pay the premium, whatever. I want to make sure that she's the first one to ever use it. But for myself as a guy, because who cares about me? It's not going to really matter too much for myself. So what I do is I actually bought a gold testing kit. Has the different acids and stuff. Don't put that in your mouth. And you test it with the different stones. You can test to see if it's 10 karat, 14 karat, whatever. I had a friend that worked at like a buy and sell gold place, and he showed me exactly how to test for different things. And what I do is I look for people that are selling gold jewelry, and I go and I try to buy it as close to its weight in gold as possible. Whenever you go to a place that says, we buy your gold and silver and we give you the best price, beat anybody in town, what they're not telling you, and if there's anybody that works in those things that's on this call, you're going to hate me. So I'm going to be giving those industry secrets away. I'm not even kidding. What they do is they measure it up. Now we know that this is approximately the 353. But they're on there and they get their calculator and they make it look like they're like a wizard, and they're like, yeah, oh, yeah, let's add a one and I put in a zero, and let's make it look kind of like I'm adding and subtracting, and oh man, it's making all the sweat. Yeah, this is the price I can give you. And really all it is they will try to give you less than 70% of what your gold is actually worth. So if we were to actually input that into the calculator, and again, you're not going to learn this stuff on the back office. So 353 minus, just say the 30%, they're going to try to offer me $247. But because, they're business people, they're going to try to be like, oh, you know what? 230. I'll offer you 230. It's the best price. Now I sound like one of those people at the mall and stuff, right? Best price. It's like price of gold. Look, this is old. No one wants this jewelry, because they understand the game, and they understand that from this price, I can play all the way to its price of the market. So from 247, I actually can bargain you all the way, special price just for you. Don't go over there. They rip you off. From 247, from 240 all the way to 353, doesn't matter what I pay for it, I'm going to profit buying it off of you. So if you understand that psychology, when you go to the jewelry store and they are showing you that this chain is $2,000, $1,000, whatever, even for 1,000, if you know that its metal value is like a third of what they're telling you, imagine how much you can bargain with them, because you can play with those numbers. They'll say the arts and the whatever, the artist, this and that. Listen, man, I know that you guys buy and sell gold. You didn't make this, you bought it off of somebody else, and this is what you paid. So this is probably what you paid for this chain. And I'm willing to give you this price above the market. So it becomes a whole different game. So the next time that you guys look at alerts, and I know we're talking about jewelry and then price of gold and whatever, it sounds like it's all over the place, but it's not. So when you look at the alerts and it says 1922, the price has gone to 18 whatever, it's gone to over $2,000. You need to understand the importance of how it plays in jewelry and what's going on in the marketplace. because that's what's happening on paper. They're not actually exchanging gold and silver. So if we understand that on a jewelry level, there's a whole game being played of different prices and different weights of gold and silver. On the industrial side of things, the same thing is happening. And these two things are what's actually moving the markets. Because if you ever opened up an electronic device, you'll see a bunch of silver and gold components. People buy microchips to melt it down for the gold. There's actual gold in these things. Now, don't go busting up your iPhone. It's not enough gold to retire off of. But with enough chips, they're not potato chips. With enough computer chips, you can actually melt down enough to have gold worth something, and people actually buy this stuff. Okay, and this is what moves all these things: jewelry, gold in electronics, silver as well, platinum as well, and in some cases, like in medical fields, it has its own health benefits. I actually drink my water with a silver ounce in it, for the record. Mine was like, what? Because it sanitizes. It actually sterilizes water because it's pure silver. So it's not a coin out of my pocket. Okay, relax. I didn't just throw a bunch of change in my water. It's pure silver. I made sure to clean it and all that. It was one of like my most scratched up coins, so I made sure to like clean it up, sanitize it, whatever, and then I have it in my water. So it sterilizes water. And think of it like when we drink plastics. This is a random Edwin fact of the day. Get used to it. Okay. So whenever we drink water from plastics, we know that the plastic is leaching into our water. We're drinking plastics. Okay. So with that same mindset, why is it that like ancient times they would wear or drink copper, gold, silver? Because it leaches into our system and it has its own health benefits. You ever see people with rich water? Yeah, pretty much. You ever see people with like copper bracelets and they say it's like for like arthritis? There you go. Write in the chat why you're wearing it. Helps to like magnetize your blood or something, right? Something like that. Helps to balance or to protect you from aliens reading your brain waves. I'm just kidding. So here's the thing. So again, to finish with that fact before we continue and come to a close. So if it's leaching into your water, okay, well that's a good reason. It's totally way off from what I'm saying. So if it leaches into your water, it has its own benefits. So that's why also gold, silver, whatever is also used for medical fields. And you can buy like gold leaves, put it on cakes and all that. So if we know that it's used in a lot of things, why would the market push up or push down so heavily in times of war? Like the moment all this stuff started to happen with like Israel and Palestine, I knew I was going to be making more money because of my gold and silver by default, because I'm holding it. Because in times of war, metals are in high demand because they got to do, the weapons and all this stuff. I'm not encouraging fighting. I'm not a fan of fighting in war. I'm not saying I'm not a fan of profiting off of wars. I'm just saying, to me, it's like bloody money. I'm not a fan of that. But understanding what's happening by default, I knew the value was going to go up because it's a higher demand, right? Metals, all that stuff, fuel, gas, oil, petroleum, natural gas resources, crops, foods, like all these things go up in demand. And if you understand how gold plays into that, it also helps you understand the movements and the powers of things, because gold is also seen as true currency. Bitcoin is considered digital currency. It's considered in some people would refer to it as like digital gold, and it's good to diversify your portfolio and have a little bit of everything. So like a few eggs in every basket. And I've said this on other like North American calls. If all of the currencies today went to zero, like the US dollar, euro, Canadian dollar, nobody cares about Canadian dollar, so who cares about that? So if all the currencies went to zero and Bitcoin got destroyed, I don't care. I'd be rich anyway. Because why is that? Because I have actual money, like precious metals. In time of crisis, like no one can eat silver. So like crops and stuff are better. Whole different conversation. But the idea is to diversify enough and understand where things are going. Because like as an example, Chi Chi knows where she's going because every time that I only picked on him because he got up. So so with precious metals, it's good to understand the movements so that you can be ahead of it. So when somebody sends an alert on gold, it's good to question yourself, why is this moving up and why is it moving down? All right, so tying everything back in, understanding jewelry and how it functions in like industrial places or whatever. It's like, okay, well, gold made a move up today. Gold made a move down today. Why? These traders are saying buy gold or sell gold at this price. They might be talking about what's called order blocks or fair value gaps. If you don't know what that is, maybe it's a bit more advanced. It doesn't matter. But the more you understand what you're looking at and why it might move up, the better advantage you have. And that's in the markets itself. So so a question was asked, is there a way to know exactly how much carat your gold accessories have? Yes, there is. There's three ways. There's the easiest way is if it's stamped, and if it's telling you the truth, it'll say what it is. If it's telling you the truth, and I say that because anyone can put a stamp on anything. Now the other way would be with this super expensive machine that none of us would bother paying for because it makes no sense. It's like $20,000 for a machine you put into it and it tells you exactly what percent gold, silver it is. The last one is either you do this yourself or you go to a gold buyer seller, like a place that buys and sells gold, and you just pretend like you're going to sell it. And they do this, or you can learn to do this, and it's actually fairly inexpensive. You buy an acid kit off of Amazon, and it comes with usually 5 acids, one for 10 karat, one is for measuring 10 karat, one is for 14 karat, one is for 18 karat, and then the other one is usually, I think, 22 or 24 karat. And then the 5th acid is usually for silver. It's usually set like that. It's a kit of 4 to 5 acids, 2 little stones, little black stones, and sometimes they'll give you a magnifying glass because it seems fancy. Like, ooh, look at the gold. And what you do is to test it, the make sure that you have a magnet. That's one way to check. So like if I were to hold this up to a magnet, it's not going to move. There should be nothing magnetic in it. The only part that moves, and this is actually normal for jewelry, is usually the clasp. Because the clasp, they'll usually make it out of like more metal than gold, because then it's more durable. So like if I had a magnet around here, you'd be seeing this move a little bit, but the rest wouldn't move. So that's one test, and then you do the acids test. You scratch it on the stones, so you make the little lines. So like 4 little lines, and then you test each acid on it, and then as it disappears, you'll know what it is. As long as the line remains, meaning the acid doesn't eat through it, then that is your carat. So like if we made 4 lines, as an example, if we made 4 lines with this on that stone, and we put the acids on it, the 22, the 24 karat acid will dissolve that gold because it's stronger. The 18 karat and the 14 karat one will dissolve it as well because the acid is stronger. But the 10 karat acid will still show the scratch mark I made, letting you know that it's 10 karat. It's fairly easy to learn if you want to do it yourself. But to save yourself that trouble, just go somewhere and say, hey, I'm looking for the best price in town just for me. What can I get for this? Is this 10 karat? And if they say no, it's not 10 karat, it's not 18 karat, whatever, don't believe them. Just pretend that it is and go test it yourself or go somewhere else. So to finish with that, with when you're looking at those prices and stuff, look at news. So I don't, and this is why it's important to understand the back office, because if you're getting an alert, there's the fundamentals of learning support and resistance and understanding the way up and the way down and all that stuff, which is great. But if you can see the news and you start to learn to understand, it doesn't mean you have to be a master of the news, but it gives you a better indication of knowing, like, okay, I feel like based off of this news, this makes sense to put in a buy. Right. So if you know that let's say Microsoft is going to be investing in creating cars or something, they're going to go and enter the car space to compete with Tesla, let's say, then that's a pretty good indication that precious metals will go up because they need electronics, which then you can also use that to tie in with like stocks and stuff that do microchips and all this stuff. So I know that this was like a way, way, way different topic than you're probably used to. It's always nice to talk about candlesticks and price resistance and charts and all that, but sometimes it's good to throw in kind of like a left field kind of topic. Hopefully you guys and gals enjoyed it. Hopefully you learned something. Let me know in the chat if you gained some knowledge or some experience. I don't want, and again, I will throw you under the bus. I don't want the guys to go out there and buy crazy jewelry, unless it's for your ladies. Then by all means, make sure you pay the $2,000. Don't be buying her secondhand stuff. Doesn't make you look good. I don't recommend secondhand stuff. Gold is haram for men. You always teach me something new. I'm like scared to put songs on my stories when I tag you. Okay, so then fellas, definitely if you're Muslim, do not be buying gold for yourself. Buy for the ladies. Which means you're paying retail. Don't be cheap. On the spot for myself too. It's being recorded. Jeez. Okay, so all that being said, make sure you make smart decisions, be patient, enjoy yourselves. If you're going to buy gold and silver, remember, if you will be buying it, one quick tip before we go, you are paying a premium. So whatever the market price is, you are paying a little bit more than that, and that is normal, unfortunately, because we are not precious metal dealers, so we have to pay retail price for it. It is a good investment to have on the side. I've been buying precious metals since 2010. Something that I did, you hear this term a lot with Bitcoin, with crypto, you hear dollar cost average into crypto, which basically means every paycheck you get once a week, once a month, whatever, you have a certain amount of money that without question you invest into Bitcoin or whatever crypto, $10, $50, whatever. Every paycheck, $10 for crypto. So you hear this term dollar cost, DCA, dollar cost average, you hear often with crypto. But before crypto was even invented, so back in 2010, I was dollar cost averaging precious metals, meaning every month, whatever I got paid, it didn't matter what the price of silver was. I would go to the precious metals dealer and I would buy minimum 4 ounces of silver. And depending if I worked extra overtime or not that month, I might buy 5 or 6. But minimum 4. And I made sure that every year, either at the beginning, somewhere in the middle, at the end, in the year, I would buy 1 ounce of gold. Because it's way more. It's at the time it was like $1,100 an ounce. So like, obviously, why not? Because I knew like it's gonna things inflation and all that stuff. So if I knew every year I'm buying 1 ounce of gold, every month I'm buying 4+ ounces of silver. This is why I have several ounces of gold and hundreds of ounces of silver. I don't care what happens to the economy. If we all die, we all die. We just, what are you gonna do? But in terms of like money wise, the economy crashes, I'm buying a castle. That's all I know, because I'm ready for it. So but look at the calmness. Like, I don't care which way the market goes. And that's the same type of mentality I want all of you to have, because if you're smart with where you allocate your funds and you're just patient with it, you're not looking for get rich quicks, you can have the same type of results. And the same thing happens when you're trading and investing, like with your actual real accounts. You have to be detached from the results. It goes up, goes down. With proper risk management, you don't care. It makes no difference, because when you win big anyway. So hopefully that was helpful. And yes, it's actually more than an elite package now, because it's 1922. So hopefully all of you enjoyed that. I appreciate you all for being here interacting. Please bring back Chi Chi. She missed the ending, so you're gonna have to play the recording for Chi Chi. If make sure you tag me on Instagram if you share it on Instagram, Edwin D Zapata, Zapata, and I'll see you all in the chats. Don't be shy, don't be strangers, and see you all on the next ones.